SDR News for updates.
Well, just as they said, HP and Microsoft working together. Hi, I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News, and I'm joined by Tim Crawford from Avoa. And in between us, we have two gents from Microsoft. We've got Jerome Moss, who was with us at another HP Discovery here before, and Jaime Pena as well. We're going to be talking about clouds of all types, hybrid clouds.
Hybrid clouds.
Yeah. Tim, from your experience as a CIO, what are some of the thoughts that immediately come to mind when the phrase cloud is presented to you?
The biggest issue is which clouds fit best where. So how do I take advantage of cloud, but not all clouds are the same, and not everybody needs the same type of cloud or the same offering.
So one of the things that we've seen here is the introduction of a dedicated appliance in order to provide, at first glance, provide private clouds. But Jerome, could you talk a little bit about what you're showing here along with HP?
So basically, yesterday HP announced the Converge system, which is basically has been engineering for Microsoft. And these appliances rely on, of course, HP hardware and rely as well on our Cloud OS solution that include System Center and Hyper-V as let's say the foundation of the private cloud for bringing virtualization with Hyper-V and automation, advanced monitoring with System Center. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what has been announced yesterday.
So Tim, what comes to mind when you see this sort of product?
The first thing that comes to mind is it's really interesting because I think it talks about how we're starting to see this integration happen between the software and the hardware. And it's no longer just simply an abstraction of the two, but rather how do they work together in an integrated system, which is one of the things I'm really interested in with the Microsoft and HP partnership.
And to be honest, it's not something new. I mean, we have been working with HP for years now to have deep integration, especially with System Center. HP, for instance, bring HP Insight Control for System Center. These are basically plugins that you can add on top of System Center to expand the monitoring capability of System Center for HP Blade, HP Storage Subsystem. They provide ways as well to ease the automation of the deployment of Hyper-V Farm from System Center Virtual Machine Manager. So we have all these components available from HP for years now.
Jaime, as you talk with customers, what's the main thing that's on their mind that this device might address?
So, I mean, the big challenge, and the thing Tim was anticipating that is knowing exactly where, how much to put it on the cloud, and at the end, from our perspective, is giving more choices. So, and that's aligns very much with our vision, which is what we call the Cloud OS vision, which is expanding the clouds across private, on-premise clouds or service provider clouds, or even our private cloud. So we want you, and this appliance actually expands those choices. So what we're trying to do is make sure that there is this common platform, and whatever the customer chooses, one thing or the other, they can easily move around or they can expand, and not only Microsoft products or technologies or workloads, but also applications running on different hypervisors or developed with different technologies. So at the end, it's a matter of giving choices to the customer. They're at the center.
So one of the questions that often comes up amongst traditional IT organizations is, I get fearful of hardware, I get fearful of appliances because I'm locked into it. Can you talk about how your approach is different and what you're bringing to the table that's different?
So, I mean, the good things about this is it's really real that customers can easily take any workload that is running on Hyper-V, for example, on that appliance and put it on a service provider running Hyper-V. It's very, very easy. And they can do exactly the same in Azure. And the good things is actually they have one single management tool and they can dynamically do that. So it's very different from in the past, because actually they can decide, okay, I need to scale out, I'm going to scale up out of this appliance, and it's relatively straightforward doing that with just one management tool.
So you're saying you're going from the traditional infrastructure model to the private model to the public model, and you can seamlessly go kind of end to end. I mean, that's a tall order.
Yeah, I think what is very important to highlight is that, as René mentioned, I mean, System Center is part of this Cloud OS vision, and System Center is in most of the data center today. So customer really, when it comes to adopting the cloud, it's a journey. It's not like they're going to switch everything to the cloud. So they're going to use actually the tools, the management tool they already have in place to actually start the journey and start to move some workload to the cloud.
So System Center is really the core of the management crux that connects the different pieces together.
Yeah. It brings actually advanced monitoring for your apps. It brings automation. It brings service management. All these things are now bundled into one single product called System Center.
And how much of that is dependent on the core Microsoft ecosystem as opposed to other products outside of the core Microsoft product suite? And then second to that is, where does it start to taper off? Yeah. Because in the past, I know there have been some challenges in being able to support other products that are not part of the core Microsoft suite.
Yeah, we are extremely conscious of that. I mean, it's something that at the end is which is in the market and where our customers are running. Our customers are running multiple technologies, multiple things. So it's core on our technology being cross-platform. Is absolutely critical for this team. I mean, Microsoft is a big company. We have multiple things. We're talking about our server and cloud vision. Is really, you can have applications running on Java. You can have other hypervisors. You can have multiple things and span. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I mean the integration of Linux as a VM guest on Hyper-V is now really considered being, let's say, first-class citizen. All the capabilities we had developed and tuned and optimized for our workload, for Windows Server workload, are now fully available on Linux Guest as well. So things like dynamic memory, all the scalability that we can provide today for Windows Server, like running VM with 64 CPU, are things that we can do actually on Linux VMs as well.
Now, are you seeing...
Just a moment. As you can tell, this is obviously live as we're recording. And Joe, if you could summarize your last answer, I want to make sure people are able to capture that.
So I was just saying that, the thing is, when we talk about, Cloud OS, Microsoft Cloud OS, we always have the feeling that it's just for Microsoft workload. And I think the thing is, as René mentioned, is like, we support multiple hypervisors. So it's Hyper-V, but it's as well other hypervisors that you might have already in place. It's about running Windows workload, Microsoft workload, SharePoint Exchange, but as well it's about running Linux VMs. And again, with the new Hyper-V that we've released in Windows Server 2012 R2 about 1 month ago, Linux is now first-class citizen. So things like dynamic memory, so how we optimize the allocation of memory to the VMs. Things like all the scalability that we had on Windows Server are now fully available on Linux. I can run a Linux VM with 64 CPU, for instance.
And can you talk a little about the service providers that have a platform in production today that you could move to? So I'm a CIO. I'm ready to move out of my own data center. Where am I going?
That's fantastic question. So we are very, very proudly working with a lot of service providers. Actually, in this region in Western Europe, we have the Nordics, for example, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Sweden. They're really several steps ahead of the world on that, and we have multiple service providers that have embraced this Cloud OS vision, and you can actually deliver, and you have all our platform available. So it makes relatively easy for the customer to decide how much to move, when to move, etc. Okay, we stay tuned because we are announcing a few very interesting programs and initiatives with service providers in the next stage.
You're welcome to announce them right now.
Indeed.
I'm going to keep my job. I'm going to do it. But stay tuned because there's some very good stuff coming.
And these offer a level of agility and flexibility to customer that is really unique. They can actually move their VM running on Hyper-V on-premise to either the service provider or Windows Azure.
Well, gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us here today, and Tim, thanks for your perspective as well. More coverage coming up for HP Discover in Barcelona. Stay tuned.